Welcome to Chapter 8. This chapter explains and discusses communicating and then sharing it on the web. Okay, so we're going to talk about different forms of synchronous online communication, talk about asynchronous online communication, the impact of social media in society, user-generated content, wikis and other social media sites, relying on the wisdom of the crowd, explaining the influence of social media on e-commerce, and we'll talk about what e-commerce is, and then developing a brand marketing strategy using social media and other online technologies. Okay, so she's super excited about synchronous online communication. So, synchronous online communication. This type of communication happens between two or more people who happen to be online at the same time. So, in other words, the opposite of our class, right? Our class is asynchronous, means we are not online at the same time. So I'm sure you guys can think of different examples of synchronous online communication, right? I wish I could hear your answers. Instead, I'll just give you some, okay? Chat, right? Chat allows you to communicate with one or multiple people at the same time. Instant messaging, again, communicating with one or multiple people at the same time. Once that IM session is complete, it disappears. And then we have, Skype, iMessage, all this kind of stuff is a form of synchronous online communication because you're chatting with these people while they're also online at the same time as you. You can't have a conversation if the other person's not there, right? You write something, they read it right away, respond back to you. Okay, do a Google Hangout. Everyone's talking and chatting away. So that's all happening in real time. That's what you need to think about. VoIP, or Voice over Internet Protocol. This allows phone calls to be transmitted over the internet instead of through phone lines. If you do FaceTime or if you use Skype, those are forms of this Voice over Internet Protocol. Okay? Really cool stuff that didn't exist, I was thinking about, like, when I went to college, of course, that was an eternity ago, I wrote letters home. And when email, came into my life, it was this, like, life-changing thing. I could talk to friends, I could talk to my mom, like, daily without having to call or, actually sit down and write a letter. And so now, if you're away from home, you're in the military, or you're here at college, you can actually sit down, have a video chat with your family, your friends, actually see their faces while you're talking. So it's really nice. And, Zoom, for example, that's a tool that we have access to. And so if you want to talk to me in real time, we can Zoom, and that's part of this synchronous online communication. Okay, so let's talk about asynchronous online communication. This is a form of communication that doesn't require the participants to be online at the same time. All right, so example number 1, this course, right? We don't have to be online at the same time. You and I don't have to be on there. You don't have to sit down the same time I sit down to give the lecture. You don't have to sit down and watch me give you this lecture, right? You can do it at 5 a.m. or you can watch it at midnight or noon or whatever time works for you. Okay, that's asynchronous. We don't have to be online at the same time. So examples of this would be, of course, this course, email, texting, and then if you are involved in any sort of forums or discussion boards, those are also asynchronous. Okay. So let's talk about email. Email is a system of sending electronic messages using something called store and forward technology. And what that means is that an email server holds your messages for you until you request them. Okay? So this allows people to send you email even if you aren't online at the same time. So there's two ways to access your messages. You can either use an email client, something like Outlook, or you can read it online via like a webmail interface. So anything, Gmail, Yahoo, I don't know what else there is, Hotmail, like all the other different email clients. Those are all web-based, so you can access your email that way. Advantages of email. It can be accessed from anything that has access to the internet, right? So via PC, your phone, your tablet, your laptop. You can access it from anywhere. And it's nice, too, that you can have multiple email accounts. You can have one for work. You can have one for school. You can have one for your family. You can have one for your friends. You can have one that you only use when you buy stuff online. So all their junky ads go to that email and you don't really have to look at it. If you get tired of your email address, just make a new email address, right? Of course, we have disadvantages to go with those advantages. Disadvantages include that your email could be read by hackers, okay, as well as scanned by your employer. Emails are stored on your computer, your sender's computer, or your receiver's computer, okay, as well as by your internet service provider, okay. So don't ever send an email and think this is just between me and them, or whoever you're sending it to. You know, I know they will never tell anyone, or it won't get out. Nobody else will ever see it. Okay, don't think that way because it's probably not the truth. Okay, emails can be printed. There you go. There's a hard copy now that exists of something you may have written in privacy. Okay, they can be forwarded, right? So you never know who might be reading that email. Most of your email content is not protected, so you should never use email to send really personal or sensitive information. Employers have access to emails sent from the workplace, and so anything I send to you, anything you send to me, that's all accessible by Highlands or by wherever you happen to work. Okay, that's part of the deal you sign up for. And then even after you've deleted a message, it doesn't really vanish, okay? You may have deleted your email. You may have emptied your trash can in your email, okay? Unfortunately, your ISP, your internet service provider, they archive email. So they have a copy, okay? So the best advice I have for you is to treat every single email as though it were open to the public to read. Don't say things you don't want others to read. And remember that even after you've deleted your emails, they will be available for years from other sources. Okay. I won't say anything here. Actually, I will say something here. It's all this stuff's over, so I can talk about it. Okay. Gosh, has anyone ever had more troubles with their emails than this lady? No. Okay. Everyone's sick of the emails. Yes, I know. But I actually put this up to tell you about something else. Okay. In March of last year, the personal Gmail account of John Podesta, who was, first of all, former White House Chief of Staff, and then became the chairman of Clinton's U.S. presidential campaign, his personal Gmail account was compromised in a data breach. Okay? And a collection of his emails, many of which were work-related, were stolen and published online. You can go onto WikiLeaks if you have any interest in looking to see what the emails were, and they're all on there. They published, I think, over like 20,000 pages of emails, and they did this right before the election happened, so in October and November of 2016. Okay, so embarrassing for him on multiple levels. There was stuff they had talked about, like Chelsea Clinton, not saying very nice things. I'm sure things he would have really been happy that never would have come out in public. But, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You never know who is going to have access to your email or who all of a sudden is going to read it. And it's better to just keep that from happening in the first place. Okay, so parts of an email message. It's good for you to know the terms for the different parts of the email message. Up at the top here, we have a subject line. Okay, so in this case, new member of the family. The picture right here, that's an attachment. Okay, that's when you attach a file. This is when you're using Outlook and you've attached a picture to that email message. Underneath that here, we have these text formatting tools. Okay, and this stuff may be in different places for different email providers, but this is just Outlook. Okay, here's the message itself. Hey guys, look who just moved in. Okay, and then right here you have the signature line. So in this case, this is Viz. This is obviously from our textbook, Viz Tech. Okay, on the left-hand side here, we have the recipient's address. So make sure you can identify these parts of an email. And if you don't know what CC means, that stands for carbon copy. All right, and so you send this to cutiepie_cupcake@yahoo.com, and then you also want to CC it to your mom. Okay, then you might want to put in that email address here, and that's going to send it to both people. You'll see this here. This is called BCC. If you click on that, another box is going to pop open. BCC stands for blind carbon copy. If you've never used that, what it does is it sends a copy of the email to another person as well. And the people that you have here, these recipients, won't see that you've also sent this email to whoever you're sending it to. So that's what the blind carbon copy is. Sometimes you might do that just to cover yourself, maybe as far as work, or I don't know. Maybe you just wanted to include someone in on the message you're sending. Whatever your reasons are, that's why it exists. So that's a pretty nice little feature. Okay. CAPTCHA. Have you guys heard about CAPTCHA? Maybe you haven't been familiar with the term, but it's this stuff. Okay, right here. CAPTCHA is an acronym for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to Tell Computers and Humans Apart. And basically, it's the series of letters and numbers that are distorted in some way that's relatively easy for us as humans to read. I mean, we can still see this as don't, despite the fact that it has this line through it, right? But this is tough for machines to understand. Okay, the purpose of CAPTCHA is to prevent automated systems from creating accounts. Okay, so this is, sorry it's blurry, but this is an example for creating like an Outlook account. Okay, creating an account here, I see it says Microsoft. You're entering your information. Then when you get to the bottom, it has this, and it tells you to enter these characters in right here. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't get these right. All right, so you can always click and get a new one if you're not able to read like what these say. So again, the reason why it's done is because it's to keep people from writing software that is able to actually, just create account after account after account after account. Maybe they just are going to use it for spam, sending, things like that. So it helps to prevent that kind of misuse. Also, when you're buying like tickets online, like from Ticketmaster, you'll notice they have multiple ways of making sure you're not a robot. Okay, and that's just to keep things fair and to keep, again, people from misusing the system. Another popular form of asynchronous communication is text messaging. Okay, using the SMS, that stands for Short Message Service, you can send these brief electronic messages between mobile devices. Messages that include multimedia, such as pictures or videos, they use something called the MMS, which is the Multimedia Messaging Service. So like Snapchat would be an example of that, right? You can send videos and pictures. Okay. Text as well. Here's someone, Mike, is sending that picture of him and this dog to this girl. Okay, so this would be an example of an MMS. This would be an SMS.